This is a Tax Talk, a show that helps you piece together the many moving parts of tax administration within Lagos State. My name is Oyinlola Sale, and I'll be your host for the duration of the show. We have several segments lined up, the first of which is business news. Welcome and please stay with us.
This is business news. The Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria has charged the three tiers of government to stop non-state actors from collecting taxes in the country. CITN's president and chairman of the council, Mr. Samuel Agbeluyi, gave the charge while speaking on the sidelines of the inauguration of the CITN Abuja Liaison Office in the Federal Capital Territory. He said this was part of the recommendation at the just concluded conference of the institute, adding that a communique will be sent to the government on that. According to him, what the non-state actors are collecting was not remitted to the common purse of the country, as this has created a major distortion in the collection data. Mr. Agbeluyi said the non-state actors include area boys, warlords, and those who are not empowered by the constitution and the law to collect taxes but are always seen collecting taxes from people, which is seen to be common at the local government level. He urged all three tiers of government to put an end to that, adding that those non-state actors who collect taxes usually harass business operators. And that's it on business news.
I will make a start shortlist business. They give them 150k to my friends. Let's do this. Taxes? I didn't even think about this. So I'll have to pay tax to build a house in Lagos. Maybe I should take a remote job. That way, I can avoid taxes. But wait though, bloggers and content creators pay taxes too. So tax officials in Lagos monitor digital space for tax payment. Wait, why don't I start importing and exporting of phones and gadgets? Bro, how far now?
Femo, how far?
Bro, I won't join the business where they do.
Oh, small. You just need money. I hope you have your tax clearance certificate.
Tax? Are you kidding me?
Without it, shishi, you know fit do. You have to visit the nearest tax office.
I can't believe it. There's no way out of this. I have to face my tax obligations if I want to start a life in Lagos.
Dear Lagosians, your taxes enable the government to invest in education, healthcare, security, housing, and many more. By continuing to pay your taxes, you are investing in a brighter future for all. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
On the Corporate Talk segment of the Tax Talk today, we'll be dealing with the LIRS Strategic Directions for 2024. And we couldn't have chosen a better guest to have that conversation with. Mr. Ayodele Subair, who is the Executive Chairman of the LIRS, joins us today to break things down. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's certainly my pleasure. I'm glad to see you again.
Same here.
Let's get right into it. Talking about your year 2024 direction for the agency, what measures does LIRS have in place to promote and enhance voluntary tax compliance among individuals and businesses in Lagos State, particularly in the view of the present economic conditions in the country?
Okay, so everything usually moves around taxpayer education. So it's very important to drive voluntary compliance because it's much cheaper than reacting and, having to use enforcement and all those measures. So what we have really is, one, to try and simplify all processes for taxpayers. Two, leverage on technology by ensuring that people can easily file their returns and can make inquiries on all the various things that are not very clear to them. So in terms of voluntary compliance, we need to educate the taxpayers to let them know how to comply, what they need to comply with, and then provide all the various media channels through which they can understand and learn that it's easier to voluntarily declare their incomes and pay the taxes.
Simplification of tax administrative processes is expected to encourage tax compliance. What are the ways by which LIRS is simplifying its processes for the taxpayers?
When it comes to leveraging on technology, how do you simplify processes? By bringing it up to date with all the modern techniques, principally, and then educating the taxpayers. So what do? We have a lot of videos on YouTube that educates members of the public on how to use the various facilities. Largely, we have an end-to-end tax administration solution known as the e-tax, enterprise tax. So with this platform, people can do end-to-end stuff, register, generate their assessment notices, make payments. There's a tax calculator that enables this. They can make payments, print their receipts, and also do tax clearance certificates. So it's simplified enough for people. The other things we do is to generate public notices. We have frequently asked questions. So we have flyers, and then we have our staff, of course, who are the chief lecturers or teachers, if you want to put it that way.
2023 target for LIRS was 684 billion naira. The agency achieved 99% of this, which is impressive.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But it is,
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Now, looking at the attitude of Nigerians to taxes, the target has now been increased to 750 billion naira for the year 2024. What strategies or measures does LIRS have in place to meet this year's target?
Every year the target is moving, and we have to devise means. When you first hear the budget, you tend to cringe and you're fearful, how do we achieve this?
Yeah.
But then work starts thereafter, and we continuously have to strategize and be very innovative in how we're going to, to achieve the numbers. One of the first things, of course, is to look at the technology, make sure that we do all the tweaking that we need to do. We're constantly automating the various processes, because without that automation, you are going to have very, very limited numbers. So one other thing that we really have to do at all times is to increase the tax net. We're not allowed to increase the tax rates because these are federal laws. So the best way to do it is then, to widen the tax net. And we do this through what we call enumeration. That's the technical word for it. So we need to enumerate, widen the scope completely, and then once again educate both the taxpayers and the members of staff of LIRS through continuous training and monitoring. We have to spend a lot of time on monitoring, and at the end of the day, we just have to make sure that we meet the targets because of development in Lagos. Lagos has a huge infrastructure gap, and it also, because of a large population, we need to get enough money to provide qualitative social services. So our own bit of it is to raise the funds to enable our governor do the needful in terms of allocating those resources and ensuring that the money is used judiciously.
What is the nature of the relationship between the LIRS and the Lagos State government and its MDAs? How have these relationships impacted on the activities of the agency and its ability to meet its targets?
Okay, so for the agency to thrive, we need to have a very good relationship, both with the state government. We're an arm of the state government, so we need to have a good relationship with them, and also with all the other MDAs. And the necessity for that relationship is because we can't do it alone. principally. So what do we do? To spread the tax net that I spoke about earlier on, we rely on all the other arms of government in Lagos to ensure that the need for people to pay their taxes is constantly expressed by all of them. So we appeal to them that anybody who is doing any business in Lagos, should be registered and should be tax compliant for the current year and the previous 2 years. And we have backing. There's Section 85 of the Personal Income Tax Act, and that's what supports this, that anybody who is doing any business with government must be tax compliant. He must have paid his taxes for that year and the previous 2 years. So part of our collaboration with the MDAs is just to ensure that as much as possible, we continuously, achieve this.
Thanks for all you have said so far, sir. We'll pick this up when we get back from the break. The executive chairman of the LIRS will still be with us when we get back. Be sure to stay with us.
Have you had a hard time with taxes and understanding tax administration in Lagos State and the complex nature of Nigerian tax law? Do you know what agency or tier of government collects the various types of taxes? Have you ever found yourself asking any of these questions? Join us for your favorite program, The Tax Talk, your infotainment program.
We are back. Mr. Ayodele Subair has been patient with us and is raring to get back in the firing line with all our questions. Don't worry, sir. It's a friendly fire. Let me know if you're ready. Then I'll just go right in. What are your thoughts on improving customer service for taxpayers, and how would you work towards enhancing their experience when interacting with LIRS?
Thank you for that question. So generally, in terms of customer service, we want to make them as comfortable as possible. We want to make our equipment as user-friendly as possible. So we go about this by some more tax education. We have what we call tax champions in all the various tax stations, and we encourage members of the public to walk into the tax stations and do all their inquiries. The tax champion is, very well versed in how to make them comfortable. So this is done all the time. We also try to get some feedback from taxpayers from time to time. And with this feedback, we tend to know what they're comfortable with, all the various needs, from LIRS. And we just try to ensure that they're comfortable because we want voluntary compliance.
What do you believe are the most pressing challenges currently facing the agency?
The most critical challenge for us is that of credible data. It's very, very difficult to secure data in Nigeria. We're just not, excellent when it comes to data. We're not so data-driven in our various ways of life. So that is one major challenge. The other major challenge for us is that we have a cash-driven economy. A lot of people transact their business in cash. And when people transact business in cash, there's no trail. Typically for a taxman wants to identify the trail and look at all the pointers to how we can determine what your true income is. Because with voluntary compliance, we just have to take the declarations that people have made. So with cash, it's difficult, Not only do they transact in cash, they don't have proper records. So that combination is not exactly the best combination for us. We also have a large informal sector in Nigeria and in Lagos State. It's said that about 60% of the working population is, actually within the informal sector. So how do you bring people in the informal sector into the tax net? That's a very, very difficult task. So what we do is to strategize to see how best, what measures can we introduce to assist us to overcome that particular challenge. So we have, through technology, we have developed a software called the Ayodele Hub. And with the Ayodele Hub, it allows us to go around all the nooks and crannies of Lagos. It allows us to register potential taxpayers in the formal sector. And these taxpayers are largely tradesmen, artisans, members of various associations, vulcanizers, welders, and all people in that line of work. So the key thing about the Ayodele Hub is that it allows us to take taxes in installments. That's a major innovation. And for many years, we found it very difficult because a lot of people in the formal sector are low-income earners, and many of them are daily earners. So they are unable to put down large amounts to pay as their tax. So the other thing we have done is to have like a presumptive tax regime, which means that people are given a limited amount, depending on, how they then progress after that first year that they have paid the presumptive taxes. Then we start to look at their business and how we can profile them better, if I can say that.
Are any of these challenges staff-related, talking about your workforce, their training, and other welfare measures in place to ensure that LIRS officials are well-motivated and have the requisite skills to deliver on your targets?
We don't have any workforce challenges. We have a lot of staff welfare that we do in LIRS to keep our staff happy. At the end of the year, we have what we call a bonus scheme. And with the bonus scheme, we look at the target for the agency as a whole, we look at the target for the directorate, and then we look at the personal targets, whether the staff have achieved their KPIs or not. And we also have other things like ensuring that their medical needs are taken care of. We are fully subscribed to HMOs. And then most importantly, we invest a lot of time and resources in training our staff. And with this training and with the human being, when they know that they have superior knowledge, they tend to perform better. So these are all the various things we apply to ensuring that, we're on top of those challenges.
In your opinion, what are the key steps needed to address the issue of tax fraud and evasion? And how would you implement effective measures to tackle these challenges?
So that's a major problem, tax evasion and avoidance. Tax evasion is criminal, like you know, and avoidance, not that it's permitted, but it's more acceptable. You don't face criminal charges if you have been caught out. So the first thing is to make sure that the enabling laws are well put in place to minimize evasion or avoidance. The next thing is to look at all our processes and make sure that as much as possible we have processes that are very transparent and that can help us monitor and capture all the taxes.
Mr. Chairman, sir, we're grateful for allowing us to put you in the line of fire with all these questions. We appreciate your presence here today on the Tax Talk.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
The Executive Chairman of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, Mr. Ayodele Subair, has fielded questions about the LIRS strategic directions for 2024. I hope you learned from him. Tax Did It is up next, but first, a quick break.
I will make a start shortlist business. They give them 150K to my friends. Let's do this. Taxes? I didn't even think about this. So I'll have to pay tax to build a house in Lagos. Maybe I should take a remote job. That way, I can avoid taxes. But wait, bloggers and content creators pay taxes too. So tax officials in Lagos monitor digital space for tax payment. Wait, why don't I start importing and exporting of phones and gadgets? Bro, how far now?
Femo, how far?
Bro, I won't join the business where they do.
Oh, small. You just need money. I hope you have your tax clearance certificate.
Tax? Are you kidding me?
Without it, shishi, you no fit do. You have to visit the nearest tax office.
I can't believe it. There's no way out of this. I have to face my tax obligations if I want to start a life in Lagos.
Dear Lagosians, your taxes enable the government to invest in education, healthcare, security, housing, and many more. By continuing to pay your taxes, you are investing in a brighter future for all. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
Welcome back to the Tax Talk. It's now time to check out the LIRS Diary.
I have before you all the key men and women that make things happen for Lagos State in terms of revenue generation. And we're very pleased to have the team from Joint Tax Board.
Lagos is a member of the Joint Tax Board, and by virtue of that, they benefit from all our initiatives, which are meant to strengthen our members and increase their capacity to optimize revenue generation through taxation.
We do a lot of collaboration with JTB, and aside from that, JTB itself brings a lot of value to tax administration through collaboration with many other federal government agencies. We're all aware of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal and Tax Reforms, headed by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. They are presently carrying out all the various reforms that are expected in the tax space.
We have finally hit the landing strip after going through the motions on today's edition of the Tax Talk. Feel free to engage us via social media using the handles that have shown up on screen at intervals on the show. The LIRS can also be engaged on social media, as I'm sure you know they're active on virtually all the platforms. My name is Oyinlola Sale, and I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same station, as we turn our spotlight on another topic. Enjoy the rest of the day.